Hi, we made it to 25,000. So this is the costume memory lane video. These are the costumes that I still have in my possession that I can get to that aren't in boxes somewhere. And I thought we'd have a little chat about these in particular and then about some that aren't here that people had questions about. We're going to start off with Daisy's costumes because I have a lot more hands-on knowledge of these than I do some of the others. But these are her not totally flannel shirts. This is Daisy's main shirt. It is not flannel. It's actually a very thin cotton. It came from a store in the mall called Maurice's. I don't think it exists anymore. We went with this because we decided that the color palette we wanted to use for Daisy was going to be purple and green. Daisy is just a normal person, really, and the city color palette was going to be Mardi Gras, purple, green, and gold, so we put her in the city color palette. But as utilitarian a dresser as she tends to be, we figured she might like some fancy details. And I saw this lace bit up at the top and thought that is something that kind of screamed Daisy. If you look at her other props, like her toolbox, you'll see that there's glitter and sparkles on it. The military jacket that is actually still in my closet. I could have gotten that one out. I missed that. But the military jacket has rhinestones on the lapel. We put these little fancy touches in just to give her a little bit of sparkle. And then this is flannel. This actually is flannel. It's very thin flannel, very lightweight, but it came from Target because we forgot about it. The last day of shooting was all of the office stuff and the last scene, which where Nick invites Daisy to be his partner. And we forgot that that's a different day. We were putting costumes together for everybody else and I kind of forgot me. So I made a last ditch run to Target and found this and this cute little tank top that they're not daisies, but they're really close. So I thought, daisies for Daisy. It's actually a piece that I wear fairly often in the fall and winter. Somebody asked me how many flannel shirts I thought Daisy had in her closet, and I'm gonna say probably just one or two. It's way too hot in Mobile, Alabama for flannel. So then, oh, and underneath here is a little tank top from Old Navy, and I wear it all the time too. So here are Daisy's badass boots, and they are dry rotted. They probably need to go. I didn't realize just how bad they were until I got them out for this. I haven't worn them since filming. They've just been sitting in the closet. They're not really my style, and they're very, very uncomfortable. Oh, look, some of it has actually come off on the table. They are very tight around the ankle and very stiff around the ankle. But the good thing about that is it really informed how Daisy walked. It helped me as an actor with finding the character because I'm a former ballerina, but Daisy would not be. And this gave her a little bit of a wider stance and a little bit of a more purposeful walk. Over here is Nick Moon's turtleneck, which is inspired by Roy Scheider in Jaws. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it because it's just I think it came from Amazon. It's just a turtleneck. It's nothing really like special or you know, fun stories or anything about it. It's a turtleneck, but it's a nice turtleneck, and it looked good on him. Then over here we have the dinner jacket, which is inspired by Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Nick Moon wore more makeup than Daisy and Lila combined. I mean, it's over here too. Wow. So if he wears this again, it's going to have to go to the cleaners. And we've hung on to it because we thought maybe we might be able to use it again for something one day down the road. When we get unique costume pieces or things that are just not easily found at the mall or the thrift shop, we hang on to them. This is Nick Moon's actually vintage shirt. It is, we bought it from eBay, I believe, maybe Etsy, one of those, but it actually is vintage. In here it says, where's the tag? It says it's from JCPenney. And we definitely did not buy it from JCPenney. I don't think they've sold anything double knit in a long time. But we loved the pattern. We loved the colors. It is really unpleasant material. Like it breathes, but it's scratchy and it's itchy. So since we're over here, I'm going to come down here and show you the Trilby. Everybody's favorite costume piece. The Trilby is actually in amazingly good shape considering what it has been through. It is in great shape. It's still got some makeup on it. But Christian is going to sign it, and it has been spoken for, so it's going to leave my possession and go to its new home fairly soon. But it's just, I mean, it's just a Trilby that we found probably on Amazon. We're going to talk about where we sourced our material, our costumes from in a little bit, but the answer is the internet. Always. These are the goggles, and the prop responsible for half the blooper reel. They fall apart if you look at them funny. That's why they're in this case. We can't leave them out. But they came from Etsy. They're not custom, but they're not off the rack either. They were made for us, but I don't think we were able to customize them in any way. But they were exactly what we wanted, and they looked great, and they got the job done. We have Lila's cigarette case and her purse, which again, pretty sure it's vintage. The cigarette case goes in here sideways. I'm doing this one-handed, so we're just gonna go with that. But pretty sure it's vintage. It's, I think it came from eBay. And we just really liked the look of it. That's all. And then this was chosen because she's the daughter of a archaeologist, and these are some fake cartoony hieroglyphs. But from a distance, very quickly, it worked. Inside are fake cigarettes. They're rose. They're herbal, made with rose petals. And when you light them, they're supposed to smell nice. And they lied. They do not. They stunk up the entire office set. And we ended up not being able to light it. And we had to just toss that one and use an unlit one and have the smoke added in digitally, because otherwise we were all just pretty much going to die. But those are supposedly the cigarettes that were used on the show Mad Men. So this is Lila's hat, which has been in my closet for 8 years and has dust on it because I don't wear hats. But it is from, I think it's from, yeah, it's from Amazon. It says China. So yeah, it came from Amazon. Um, we wanted her to have that femme fatale uh, hat brim going over the eye kind of deal, and it it kind of worked. That was the plan, was to have that brim over the eye kind of look, but humidity sucks in Mobile. It's like 1,000% humidity all the time. I mean, look at this is, yeah, it's bad. And it was triple digits the day that we shot in the office. It was over 100 degrees outside, and we were inside with no air conditioning. It was very miserable. We shot her walking into the mansion early in filming, and she had the hat with her. When we shot in the office, she had to have the hat because continuity. And when she first put it on, it was fine. When we started filming, it was fine. But by the time we finished the scene that she had to wear the hat in, the humidity had killed it. It's very, very wilted. I cringe every time I see that scene. So those were all of the costumes that I had in my possession that I'm able to get to that aren't packed up for moving. But there were some questions that people had about some other pieces that are not present at this time. One of the questions was about the Frankendemon's khaki pants. And they're khaki cargo pants. The thought process that went into that was, we have to cover everything. We have to cover every inch of him that is not covered by the silicone mask or body paint. So, long pants, long sleeve shirt. But he was being, character wise, he was being built to be a weapon. So we went, let's go with something a little more militaristic. So he's got cargo pants. The Henley was chosen because it was just a nice neutral color, and it was thin enough material that we could cut out an area for the chest plate and all of the lighting that went behind it and the techie stuff. Another thing that we thought about was classic Universal monsters. Frankenstein. He wore a shirt and pants. I mean, it worked for him if it ain't broke. The thought process that went into that design choice was also very much, how much can we afford to do? We had no budget, so what can we do relatively cheaply that will get the job done and serve the character and serve the scene and not break the bank. So we decided to go with the silicone mask because prosthetics are expensive, not just to buy them or have them made, but also the time that goes into applying them. We couldn't have a half of a day taken up with putting on and taking off the prosthetic. We only had 2 days to shoot in the building that we were using for that warehouse. So, we couldn't afford the time for those for that makeup. So we went with the mask, and we went with just plain body paint on his arm. So because it just needed to be blue and have a tattoo on it, we painted the tattoo on, and that was the thought process that went into the Frankendemon costume. What can we do in a short period of time for not a lot of money that still looks halfway decent and serves the character and the story? Most important thing is serve the character and the story. Then somebody asked about Moses's hat. And that is something that I made with stuff from the craft store because Thomas wanted Moses to be the best dressed guy in the room. always, and thought he would be very extra. So we tried to find a hat for him that was, what Thomas wanted, and we couldn't find one. So I just made one, and that's where that hat came from. That is what Thomas wanted for that character. So, color palette. Thinking about the dragonfly color palette for Moses. We did have color palettes for everybody. We kind of touched on it a little bit with Daisy's costumes and putting her in purples and greens, but we had color palettes for everybody. Moon's was jewel tones. We wanted him to have burgundies and navy blues, and we thought jewel tones would look good on him, and I think they did. They were nice. We also went with a very classic black, white, and red palette for Lila. We wanted that classic old Hollywood glam for her, and for us that meant black and white and that pop of red with that first red dress, which also red is a sign for stay away, stop. So we wanted to telegraph really that this is somebody to be cautious of. Her white dress, or her white gown, nightgown, negligee, whatever you want to call it, that was inspired by Jennifer Connelly's dress in The Rocketeer when she goes on her dinner date with Neville Sinclair. That was exactly what we wanted. We wanted that old Hollywood glamour. So we found the closest thing we possibly could find that was in our budget. So there you go. Again, it's a thing with budgetary constraints. Someone asked if the budgetary constraints affected what we wanted the characters to look like, and absolutely. I mean, that's something that you have to keep in mind all the time. Going in that there are going to be things that you want to do that you're either not going to be able to, or you're going to have to get really creative to figure out how you're going to. That there are limitations. If we had all the money in the world, or at least a decent sized budget, we would have had stuff made for Lila. Her red dress definitely would have not come from Amazon or eBay or wherever we got it. It would have come from a seamstress. We would have designed something with an honest to God seamstress and used good quality material that was form fitted to her measurements and looked, exactly like what we wanted. But we couldn't do that, so we found something not even off the rack, off the internet, that was as close as we could possibly get to what we wanted for the amount of money that we could spend. That is pretty much what we had to do with everybody. We did spend a little bit more on Moon's jacket because that was going to be a signature piece. We knew that was going to be a signature piece. So we got a vintage jacket for him, and that was like $200 maybe, something like that. And we knew that Frankendemon needed to look impressive, but we couldn't spend the money to get an entire suit made or have anything custom. We had to find something off the shelf, and it needed to be one really cool piece as opposed to everything. We needed one really cool piece, and then we would, make do with everything else. But if we could have one cool piece, we could hopefully make this work. And we found one really cool piece. Did not know it was in Star Raiders. Had no idea that it was in Star Raiders. Have never seen Star Raiders. So, I need to. It's on my list. But that was just a really cool piece that we found off the shelf. And if we make it to 27.5, I will be happy to talk about it in greater depth and how we found those and the thought process behind choosing that particular mask. I think that may have been all of the questions. If I did not answer your question, let me know. Hit me up. You know where I am. I'll be more than happy to answer it. If you have a question that has not been addressed that you would like to ask me, again, just send me a message or post it on the MST3K forum, post it in the comments here. I'm monitoring everything, so I'm more than happy to answer. That's really about it for costumes. Just wanted to say again, thank you. We did not expect to hit 25,000. Certainly not this quickly. But thank you for backing, for sharing, for liking, for thinking happy thoughts. We appreciate every single one of you, and we are so excited that we get to bring you another Nick Moon adventure. We have been in touch with Christian and gotten his measurements, and we've already started looking for a new, really cool jacket to replace the one that is in multiple pieces in my office right now. And those pieces are still available as an add-on because I feel like I am like legally obligated to tell you that. But that's it. Just have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you at the 27.5 video.